Okay, we're joined now by Villanova student athletes Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. Gentlemen, congrats on advancing to tomorrow, where you guys will be playing Wisconsin in the second game tomorrow night. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions at this time for either Jalen or Josh. Raise your hand. We'll get a mic. Go ahead, Joe.
Joe Giuliano, Philadelphia Inquirer for Josh. Josh, after watching the film of last night's game, obviously you had to be happy with the second half. First half, can you put your finger on just what was going on with you guys?
No, we didn't. We haven't really watched the film of that, and right now we can't. We got to focus on Wisconsin. So whatever happened, happened. We know we got to play better. So we're not dwelling on that. We just got to know what we got to do tomorrow.
Go ahead, Mark.
Mark Herman from Newsday of New York. Josh, the thing that you and Wisconsin have in common, you have a lot of veteran players. Can you just talk about just the experiences you gained of just staying in school all these years? What has it done for you?
It gave me a lot of insight into just the college basketball game, and just you see so many different defenses. You're able to read certain things better. You're not as anxious or nervous during big games or tough situations. It really helps you just be collected. Really the whole game. And that's really it. It's always great to have that experience. Jalen's who's only a sophomore, the coach always calls him an old soul. So having him, out there. Then you have Daryl, Chris, myself, Mikel, who's a little bit into his the end of his second year. Guys who are experienced, who played in the tournament last year, who played in the national championship game. Guys that aren't rattled.
Right down front here.
Dick Weiss. Villanova has a history of graduating its kids, four-year kids. Kyle, I guess, is the only underclassman that ever left early. When you finished last season, was it a difficult decision for you? I know that you put your name in to test the waters in the draft. What was the ultimate decision, and what did it come down
to? It just came down to the best situation for my family and myself. And that was the biggest thing. Anyone that knows me knows, the first thing and my main priority, I want to take care of my parents. That's the biggest thing with me. And I knew, I had that chance last year. And if I did leave, teams said they would take me, and it was, it wasn't where I wanted to be. So it wasn't just, I didn't want to just get there and take care of my parents for a year or two. I wanted to, have a long career in the league, and I want to take care of them for the rest of their lives. And, that was ultimately the decision for me. So when I got all that information and I just sat down and thought about it, it was an easy decision.
Let's go over here to the right, and we'll come back to the center.
Hi, Jay Skursky with the Buffalo News. Jalen, why does your coach call you an old soul?
I think just coach, me and coach have felt like we've had a bond these past couple of years, and I feel like we've connected since the day he started recruiting me. And so when just going back to those days, we were always talking, we were always on the same page, and we kind of had the same mindset. And so I think that's why he just considers me an old soul.
Okay, we got three here. We'll start with Joe and then get some mics back here.
Jalen, Wisconsin hit 13 threes last night, and Koenig hit 8. Just wondered how you guys are planning to, just kind of control the arc there and make sure they don't break loose again for threes.
We definitely got to find Koenig. He's a great shooter, but they're a great shooting team, and we're just going to have to. They're well balanced, though. They have great post game, great perimeter shooters, and we're just going to have to go out there, play Villanova basketball, and defend hard, and rebound the ball, and really just play together.
Tom Withers, Associated Press. Josh, what does concern you most about Wisconsin, and how dangerous are they as an 8?
Very dangerous. you see how well balanced they are, and I think that's the biggest thing. If a team's just all post game and you're able to kind of shut down their post game, then at times you can kind of have a little easier route. But with them, they're so well balanced to it. With Hap and Nigel down there, then you have Bronson, out on the and Showalter out there shooting threes. So the balance of that team is just, it's going to be a challenge. So like Jalen said, we got to go out there and just play Villanova basketball for 40 minutes, and defend and rebound, and just play our butt off, and see what that gets us.
And if I could follow, Chris has been struggling with his shot recently. What kind of supporting role do you play when you have a teammate like that who's kind of lost his way a little bit? Are you supportive in telling him to keep shooting, or do you just kind of stay away from him?
Tell him to shoot. I tell him if I pass you the ball and you open 1-2 step and let it fly. That's what he does. He's a great shooter, and when you're a great shooter, you don't worry about slumps. And he's a great shooter, and I just know his mindset. Every one that he's going to shoot is going to go in, and that's as a great shooter, you don't worry about the ones you miss. You have a short-term memory, and that's how he is. So, just tell him to keep shooting.
You're going to go to the back right, and then we'll come center here.
Chris McKee, Sportsnet Canada. Obviously you win this last year. Was there like an aha moment or like a moment of clarity at any point, whether it be in the off season or early this year, where you're like, you know what, like I want to do this again?
April 5th, that's the first time I thought about it. Then with the test in the water process, I told Coach on the 24th or 25th of May. That's when I had the aha moment. I said, I want to do this again. So, that's something that we've been working towards, since the summer, and it's something that we got to continue to work on, and we got to just keep being coachable and being better. But to answer that question, really, May 25th, when I took my name out the draft, I had that aha moment. I want to do it again.
Jalen, how about you?
Probably the same thing. I definitely didn't have the process you did last year. But I just think that, we definitely had some key pieces coming back next year. We definitely had a group of young guys who are still hungry and still wanting to get better. And, that's definitely in the back of our minds is, winning another national championship. But we want to take care of business, so I just focus on our next game because that's what we did last year in the tournament. We just focused on one game at a time, and eventually we got there.
Tom Oates, Wisconsin State Journal. Josh, Wisconsin has a reputation as a defensive-oriented team. What kind of challenges does that defense present, and does it remind you of anybody that you played?
It seemed like, a Seton Hall, a Butler, a very tough, physical, defensive-minded team. And we know that. We know that's how they play. We just got to be aggressive. We can't second guess ourselves or get in and not try to, get in the paint or break down the defense and not try to score. So we just got to be aggressive. We got to play our game, play Villanova basketball, and let that take care of itself. So we know when you get to this late in the tournament, no one's playing. Is an easy win. Everyone's a tough team, and we know that. We know they're going to make runs, and we just got to play Villanova basketball.
Any other questions for either Josh or Jalen? Yep.
Chris McKee, Sportsnet Canada again. Watching the game yesterday with you guys on the floor, there seems to be, like, you can almost kind of communicate just by looking at each other. Talk about sort of, the closeness amongst you guys as a team. Of all the teams I saw here this weekend, you guys sort of work together as one, the best.
Yeah, that's just how close we are. We're close on the court, we're close off the court, and that really translates to us playing. I don't know how many times Jalen would just look at me and I'll just know exactly what he's trying to get ahead, get to me. So that just shows how close we are, and it shows we don't care about our individual success. We want each other, to have success. That's really about it. So when you have guys where you just genuinely love and you're just connected with on a different level, you know what each other are trying to say.
All right, Josh, Jalen, thanks for your time. Good luck
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
We'll have Coach Wright up at 3:30. Joined by Villanova head coach Jay Wright. Coach, congrats on advancing. I get Wisconsin tomorrow in our second game. Go ahead and open it up for questions. Please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone. Let's go right behind you here, right-hand side.
Sullivan, Buffalo News. Wisconsin's won more games in the tournament than any other team in the last 4 years. They've beaten 2s, they've beaten 1s. It looks like the worst 8 you could run into right now. How are you and your team approaching that?
I agree with you exactly. I agree with you 100%. They are a great 8 seed. But we have learned over the years, you get great teams.
Everywhere in this tournament, you know, teams that know how to win. Mount St. Mary's last night, you know, they had a great plan. They knew how to win the game. So we just look at it like next game. We love playing great teams. We really do. And we look forward to it.
Right down front here.
Jay, Kevin Cooney, Calkins Media. You guys played a kind of a shaky game against Seton Hall in the Big East tournament, responded with a great game against Creighton. Shaky game last night. What is it about your guys, though, that has seemed to respond after less than stellar performances with some of your better performances of the year?
I think the guys are just coachable and humble enough to look at their performance and be honest about where they've got to improve, as opposed to making excuses or blowing it off. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, our guys looked at the last game, and I hope you'll see a better performance tomorrow afternoon.
Right down front here.
Jay, Josh Verlin, City of Basketball Love. Several of your players mentioned Butler as a comparison to Wisconsin. How do you view that comparison, and then how troubling is that given what Butler was able to do to you guys this year?
Yeah. They are similar in a lot of ways with their pack line defense, their physicality. And Butler shoots threes better than people know, and Wisconsin shoots them really well, as we all saw last night. It's a very similar type of game, and it's going to be a struggle. And I actually think Wisconsin's bigger, you know, even bigger than Butler, so probably even tougher. But let's, you know, hope we learn from those games.
Let's go right down front here.
Bob Ford, Philadelphia Inquirer. Jay, Hap presents a unique set of challenges for a big, and with his skill set, not something you see every day, not something you practice against every day or work against.
Yep.
Tell me about the challenge that you see for your guys, specifically with Hap. But they've got good bigs, but him specifically.
Yeah. He's got the best hands of any player of his size we've played against. And also the best feet. So individually, if you took the best feet or the best hands, he's got them. So then put them together in the same guy, right? It's a really tough matchup in that he can score in there, but he passes extremely well out of there. And if he's got size, he can score over you. And if you have size on him, he can score around you with his ball handling. He's a great ball handler. It's a really tough matchup, man. And it's what really makes them good is that he can score on you, and he can play like a point guard and he can get Koenig and Showalter threes himself.
Let's go over here, Mark.
Mark Tracy, New York Times. I was just in the locker room. I actually don't know who won, but your guys were huddled around a phone, rooting for Seton Hall, their conference rival, of course. And I was just wondering if you could speak a little about, you know, what kind of, for fans and for people like you who are interested in it, what the NCAA tournament brings in terms of a fan experience, especially compared to some other sports events, and maybe especially compared to, you know, something like the NBA playoffs, which are same sport, but it's a kind of different feel.
Yeah. I think what's unique about the NCAA tournament is everybody in the country feels a part of it, and everybody fills out their bracket, and everybody kind of connects to a team or two, and then no matter who you are, and I think it's become almost a holiday, you know, an extended holiday in our country. I think it's the best sporting event in our country, in terms of bringing our whole country together, and And then you have the inside part of it with the passionate fans that are connected to their schools and follow them on their ride, you know, and states and cities that just take on the school, even if it's not their school. I just think it's one of the most unique and really most entertaining sporting event in our country.
Let's go over here. Jay, go ahead.
Hi, Jay. Jay Skursky with the Buffalo News. Jalen was up here earlier and said that you referred to him as an old soul. I was wondering what gave him that quality in your eyes.
He's really mature for a 20-year-old. He's sometimes I think more mature than me. And during games, I get more emotional and sometimes out of control than he does. You know, he'll come to me and say, "We got this, coach. We're all right, coach." You know, he looks at every practice like a coach. He dissects everything we do, and he looks at the game like an old school, you know, an old school guy. You know, like one of those NBA guys from the 1980s. You know, just an intelligent, skill-oriented game. I love all of that about him.
And to follow up on that, is that why there was a trust level on your part? You know, he had 2 offensive fouls last night, I think, in the first half, but you didn't go away from him or anything. Like you know, you were confident that he'd make the right decision when he got into the lane.
Exactly. You know, and last year, we started him out as a freshman on a really experienced team because he acts like a guy that's been in 4 NCAA tournaments, even though he's only been in 1. But he handles everything like he's been here, you know, 4 times, and that's the old soul. He just acts like a really experienced person.
Let's go back center and then we'll come over to Dean.
Wisconsin State Journal. Jay, Nigel Hayes has been on the big stage for a long time. You've probably seen him for years. How do you think he's developed? I mean, as his game has developed, and he seems to be playing quite well right now. What kind of a matchup issue is he?
Yeah, he's a nightmare matchup, and sometimes when you've been in college basketball for 4 years, in the regular season, you know, you realize at some point, okay, the NCAA tournament's coming up. That's the big show, and it kind of looks to me that's what he did. When the NCAA tournament hit, he's ready to go, and the Big Ten tournament also. He's developed as a passer, decision maker, and shooter. You know, when he first came in, he's kind of a rugged, you know, aggressive guy, energy guy. Now, he's just a complete basketball player. He can shoot it from 3, he can drive it, he passes it, he posts up. He's a great defender on the perimeter and the post. He's pretty complete. It's pretty scary how I just described those 2 guys, and they're on the same team, right? It's a good team.
Dana, you still right there, and then we'll go over to Joe.
Dana O'Neill with ESPN. This time last year, Jay, you had to get out of this game to be a success outwardly. What do you have to do in this game to be a success outwardly?
That's a good question, Dana. Man, I don't know. Like I think there's varying opinions publicly on where probably this team would have to get to the Final Four to be you know, you're a 1 seed. You're supposed to get to the Final Four, get out of your bracket. You know, that's probably what we'd have to be a success. And as you know, we accept that. We'll take it. We're not going to define ourselves that way, but we do get it.
Go ahead, Joe.
Joe Giuliano, Philadelphia Inquirer. Jay, we all know Wisconsin's known for their defense, and their numbers are always great. And I mean, you guys' numbers aren't that much different than they are. What do you feel about the way your defense has played this year, and what is unique about how you play defense?
I think we've gotten better towards the end of the year here, Joe. I think in that Seton Hall game in the Big East tournament, our defense saved us. You know, we couldn't score. I think last night, second half, our defense saved us. And we take pride in it. We play a lot differently defensively than Wisconsin, and we take more chances. We trap more. We press more. We change up defenses more. They are really solid and physical and locked in, and it's really different styles. It really is, and But as you said, you look at the numbers, we're both trying to accomplish the same thing. They rebound well, they hold their opponents to low percentage, and they try to take away threes.
Do you expect them tomorrow to be a low possession, low scoring?
I do. I wish it wouldn't be that way, but I think they're going to be able to do that to us. I've learned over the years, you can try, but against those real good teams, usually doesn't work. You better figure out how to play in their grind.
Mark Herman from Newsday. Jay, Wisconsin comes to mind as a team that can really shoot threes. A lot of teams are. Everybody is.
Yeah.
Can you describe how that has evolved as a strategy since you've been coaching since your days at Hofstra?
Yeah, it is. Defenses have really changed, and defensive concepts have really changed since even I was an assistant coach. In that we were all so help-oriented and protect the paint and don't give up easy baskets. And now sometimes you give up an easy basket and say, thank God it wasn't a three. So it's a completely different defensive philosophy, and the guys of our era have had to adjust a lot. The guys, the younger head coaches right now they came up that way. And it's kind of interesting to see some of the things they do because they've come into the game defending the three-point line.
Go right down front.
Stephen Brooks, CNHI Sports Indiana. Jay, I've just been asking all the coaches with the NIT experimenting with the four-quarter format. What's your opinion there? Are you in favor of the game moving that way, or why or why not?
You know, I don't know yet. I guess I would say I'm not in favor yet, but I'm really interested in seeing how this works. Women's basketball went this year for the first year, and I didn't get to. Our women's coach is a really bright guy, and he's a longtime coach. I want to talk to him about that in the off season. But I am interested in it. I would like to see the game be the same internationally, NBA, college. I would like to see it be the same game, or as close as possible.
Let's go back corner.
Chris McKee, Sportsnet Canada. You guys were in a dogfight yesterday at halftime, and you came out in a completely different gear. What was the message to your guys at halftime? And they obviously seemed to respond to it.
You know, for a good story, I'd love to tell you I went in there and ripped them, and they all came out fired up, but I really didn't. I just sensed, as I said earlier, we had a little nerves. I sensed we were a little bit taken back by their speed and quickness. And they did you got to give them credit. They did a great job of holding the ball till late in the possession, right? And then letting their little guards go and create plays, and it was working. So we didn't score until about 14 minutes to go for the first half, and there was only about 7 or 8 possessions. So they just had a great game plan. It was working for a while, and we just had to stick to ours, and eventually it worked out. That's really all we did. I wish I could give you a better story.
Down front.
Jay, when you look at Wisconsin film, obviously they play well through the Big Ten tournament, played well last night, but they struggled going into the Big Ten. So what do you and your coaching staff kind of focus on more? Where they struggled 2-3 weeks ago, or what they're doing now?
That's a good question. We always, that's an interesting question for all coaches. We always look at the last game because we feel like coaches, if they played well in the last game, they're going to do a lot of the things they did before. If they didn't play well in the last game, they're going to change some things. So we spend a lot more time on the last game, but then we go back in importance, less importance the further they are from this game.
Tom.
Tom Withers, Associated Press. Jay, you spoke about this a little bit last night. Chris and his shooting, you said you've spoken to him a lot about that and keep encouraging him to keep firing away. How does he respond to that? What kind of feedback does he give you in those exchanges?
He's great, man. A lot of guys, we have a term, shoot 'em up, sleep in the streets. Chris lives that better than anybody we've ever had. Scotty Reynolds was one of the best, and Chris is in that category. They don't fear a 2 for 13 night. I've been asked a lot by a lot of people, good basketball journalists that I know are around for a long time. You say like, oh, what about Chris? What about Chris? Is he going to be okay? It doesn't bother him at all. And that's what I love about him, and I want all of our guys to be like that. Sometimes the younger guys, you know, if they have miss a couple shots, they don't want to take the next shot. And we don't want them to play that way. If we tell them, if we have you out there on the court, we have confidence in you to shoot. So really, he's the least of my worries.
Any other questions for Coach?
Thank you, guys.
.355 for Wisconsin student athletes.